So I think you said you started with Reiki earlier. That was kind of your first kind of foray into the space outside of your desire to be in the
Yeah.
clinical psychology. So, like, how did that come to be? Like, and can you talk about what Reiki is too? I mean, I think a lot of people don't understand it. What is
Yeah.
its purpose? And
Reiki is one modality of energy healing. So basically, you can tap into somebody's energy field. Um, and it sounds super woo woo. I hate that term, but it sounds super woo woo to tap into somebody's energy field, right? But there's actually some science behind it. More modern science is coming up and kind of catching up with what ancient wisdom has known forever, right? But now
mm-hmm.
energy fields are like a measurable empirical thing. So that pleases Western science. But it's a Japanese modality that I think started taking momentum in the US in like the 50s, somewhere around the 1950s. I think it
That
started in the
far
Bay
back?
Area.
Okay.
Yeah, it's been around in Japan for I don't know how
Yeah.
long. But you know, Westerners are slower to adopt so many things. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
around the 1950s, and it's kind of spread from there. Don't quote me on that. I don't know that exactly. Um, but so it's a healing modality where you tap into somebody's energy field. We have like 7 layers to our energy fields, and they emanate out from us, right? So we have like auras is a commonly known one, right? And we can have weaknesses or vulnerabilities in any one of these energy fields or energy layers, and they can be different depending where on the body that energy field is experiencing that weakness or that vulnerability. So people get attuned to Reiki, to the flow of the energy healing. So I'm attuned at level 2, which means I can perform it. I just can't um, like teach other people how to do Reiki, right? That's a whole different level. So level
Okay.
2, I can do Reiki sessions on other people. I can also do it on myself. And cool fun fact, a little bit of a side note, is Reiki isn't only for people. You can do it on pets. You can do it on plants. You can do it on,
Plants?
yeah,
Oh.
Well, everything's got an energy field, right?
everything has an energy field. You can even do it on like buildings and houses and things like that. So it's pretty cool. And you don't have to be like face to face with the person. You can do it a remote healing or a virtual healing. So anyway, I've always been interested in more like the healing arts, the more alternative ways to heal. And so I didn't set out directly to be a Reiki master. It was the person that sorry, no, to be a Reiki healer. I'm not a Reiki master. There's a big difference
Not
between
yet.
them.
Getting there.
Not yet, yeah, right. But the person I did my training with, Kat Fowler, she's amazing. It was one of her requirements to become an Akashic Records reader, which is a whole Akashic Records is a whole separate thing. We can go down that rabbit hole if we want to.
Okay.
Um,
That's a whole other discussion.
it's
Yeah.
a whole fascinating discussion. I could talk to you guys all day about the Akashic Records. Anyway, so yeah, so I never set out to be a Reiki healer, but it was a useful and is a useful set of tools that have picked up along the way.
So I'm somewhat familiar with the concept of Reiki. My mom did it before she retired. But I've never heard of it being done on objects like that. The pet and the plants thing didn't surprise me because they're living things, but when you do Reiki on a house, what is it you're actually trying what am I trying to say? Like aligning the energies of a house. What is that gonna is it just gonna make it like feel better inside kind of thing? Or is
Less
it
Yeah,
actually,
yeah, kind
poltergeisty.
of.
I mean, could it actually help it stand stronger longer and things like that? Like
Oh, that's a good
what's
question.
actually what's the actual like application in action in
Yeah.
that?
Yeah,
Did
so a couple things come to mind to answer that question. One, houses are usually built with, well, always built with raw materials, right? And at some level, there's wood in those. And at one time, the wood was a living thing, so that has some kind of an energy field that way, right? So you're kind of rebalancing or recalibrating kind of the energy of the construction of the house. The other thing is that if you're buying a house that's been around for any length of time, people have already lived in there, and so it's almost like an energy clearing.
Like
Uh,
saging.
yeah, kind of, yeah. So you're kind of getting out the old stuff, kind of going
Mhm.
room to room, seeing what feels off,
Oh.
and kind of moving that through so that the owners don't experience strange things or
Hmm.
mm,
paranormal things or
Yeah. I've saged pretty much every single house I've moved into. So,
yeah,
oh
yeah,
yeah. Then the whole like
yeah.
east, west, north, south, like, yeah.
Yeah.
We do weird stuff here up on this mountain.
We do awesome
It's
stuff on
fun.
this mountain.
We do awesome stuff on this mountain. My friends back east think I'm weird. I'm like,
Yeah,
hey, just
that's
living
fair.
living the West life.
My friends back east thought I was weird before I moved here, so I just found the right place.
We're all in good company. So, okay, but like Reiki and I've had Reiki done on me actually not too long ago. Shelby, in fact,
Oh yeah, yeah.
did Reiki during the liquid breathwork session that I did with her and Ryan not that long ago. So, can you kind of talk about what Reiki kind of feels like for somebody or like what the in person maybe, just because that's probably more common?
Yeah, what it feels like for the person receiving Reiki.
Yeah, like what kind of
Yeah.
happens? Yeah.
Yeah, so in a very traditional sense, it doesn't have to go this way, but in a very traditional sense, they kind of lay on like what looks like a massage table. And then the healer kind of comes and doesn't really put hands on the person unless the person has consented to that and there's a need, but there's usually not a need. But the healer kind of opens the container, so to speak. We ask for the flow of Reiki to come through. And then the person receiving Reiki usually doesn't feel much. They're kind of just laying there. And in the moment, they might not feel anything. Usually, what's reported afterwards is like, oh, I feel lighter or I'm more energetic, or that nagging pain that I can't get rid of is gone all of a sudden. And sometimes in the session, you can feel things too. You'll feel like heat, or you'll feel tingling, or you might feel emotions come up and you might want to laugh for no reason or cry for no reason. I'm putting that in air quotes, right? So those are some of the experiences that the person receiving might feel, but more often than not, it's you don't notice it till after you, and you kind of go back into the real world and things just feel a little different.
And had you received Reiki therapy prior to having the interest in that? And that's kind of what got you interested in it and your kind of general interest in the healing arts?
Yeah, I don't know what got me interested in the healing arts, honestly. I think I've just always been fascinated. I
Hmm.
kind of approach it a little bit like a scientist, like let me try this thing. It sounds cool, it sounds interesting. Sometimes it sounds like bullshit, if I'm being honest, but let me try
Hmm.
it and just see what happens, right? And so Reiki was one of those things where the very first time I tried it, I was like, no, I just paid a whole lot of money and I don't feel any different. But the first time I tried it, I was in Sedona with,
Of
of
course.
course, of course, and the Reiki healer afterwards. You do a little bit of like a kind of post game analysis type thing, right? Something very light and gentle. The Reiki healer afterwards looked so drained and she looked pale and she looked worn out.
Mm.
And I didn't feel any different. And she was like, just mind blown that I didn't feel any different because she said that my adrenals were really taxed. And that's like, she was kind of reflecting that back to me and how she showed up at the end of the
Mm.
session, just completely wiped out. Anyway, so
Wow.
that's a little funny story. And I was like, I don't feel any different. This didn't work. Just paid a whole lot of money.
It's tough
But I
being the
did it two
healer
or three more
sometimes.
times. And what's that?
It's tough being the healer sometimes.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I feel bad. Told her I'm sorry. Sorry for training you.
Um,
Yeah,
so
but two or three more times after that, I did try it and felt nice changes.
it's an interesting overlap that the clinical psychology and the energy work. Um, it's kind of philosophically speaking, those two industries kind of clash a little bit, I would think. Is it hard to overlap those things? Do you bring them into each other on some level? And like, do you find people accepting of your other side in those two sides?
Yeah, it's hmm. That's a good question.
Because clinical psychology is so textbook and academic oriented,
Yeah,
and
it
it
is.
does it accept the like does it accept the real nature of Reiki? Like, does it see that as a real thing, or does it just see it as the woo?
The
Like,
woo woo.
yeah,
Yeah, it depends. There's like multiple answers to that. Like obviously on an individual level, I think both coexist beautifully together, right? Not just Reiki, but clinical psychology and ancient any kind of ancient healing modality. They exist beautifully together, and I think they need each other. When we look at it from like the science community, they don't play well together. In
Mm.
general, that's a very general statement. I'm doing a
right,
lot of
right.
generalization there, right? But if you were to go to like a CBT, a cognitive behavioral therapist, who's very, if you align with that theoretical orientation, you're typically very evidence based. It's all about the empirical science, it's all about what is published in the Western journals, and that is the gold standard, right? If you go to one of those types of folks and you say, hey, I have this modality over here that can do a lot of great, really great work to somebody's energy field, no, you're gonna get stoned and
They're not
ridiculed out
buying
of that
it.
conference, right? Those two don't exist well, and so
Well,
that's to be said of most modalities within therapy.
and I
But
want to
there are
say
some that
too,
place.
Catherine, part of the reason we're having this chat with you is because you are going to do things different, right? Like you see an
Yeah.
opportunity to approach supporting people with mental health needing the support of a clinical psychologist in a different way. So
Yeah.
I'm building up to that. The why are we here? Reiki. So we've learned a little bit about Reiki, right? And so that's potentially maybe something you might infuse into your practice.
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming you might. So we'll have
Mm-hmm.
to we'll dig into that a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, to do a psychoanalysis session or whatever it might be, and then follow it up with a little energy work at the end. It
Yeah,
sounds wonderful to me.
Yeah.
right.
Well,
Why
I
did it
You
have
just
to
know,
had
be
this
like that
separate?
dream.
could help you process the emotions that you just brought up in your therapy session.
Exactly. Exactly. I just had this dream, this exact dream, what you just said, Jeremy. I had this dream last night of it's not our entire goal in therapy to have somebody have like this big cathartic emotional release. That's not the entire goal, but it's nice when it happens, right? And it's helpful to the work that we're doing. But so many times people have a big cathartic release and then they're just completely wiped out. And then we just send them on their way, right? When we talk about coming back to like Reiki and the energy fields, the 7 layers of energy fields, we just left somebody with a big gaping vulnerability that over time we hope we can help them heal in traditional psychology modalities. But if somebody's having this big release, or they're processing anger or whatever emotion that they're processing, like in the act of processing it, if an energy healer was also present in the room, or if the therapist was also an energy healer, and pulling out the funky energy out of somebody's energy field, it's like a 1 + 1 = 3. Like the level of healing and the level of uh, wholeness maybe that we send them back into the world with is night and day difference from what happens now in mainstream therapy.
Yeah, it could be exponential rather than just adding it up. It actually like, it's an
Yeah.
order of magnitude more healing
Yeah.
if when you start putting stuff together, right?
Yeah.
Because we've treated it so separately before, right? Like it's just here's the clinical stuff, right? Like here's the therapy,
Yeah.
the whatever, sit in the chair, pharmaceuticals, whatever it is that you need. And then, oh, and then here's all this woo-woo stuff over here, right?
Yeah, and the
And
two shall never like cross paths,
Never
right?
the twain
It's
shall
just not.
meet.
Well, and it's because
so,
therapy is like built on the Western medical model, which
right.
treats like we go to a specialist if we're having problems with our ears that we can't solve with our GP, right? We go to a specialist for all kinds of separate things. There's not just one person who can see your entire system and the root
Hmm.
cause and heal it at that level. And so therapy
Yeah.
is much the same way.
Yeah. Like treating it in these kind of
Yeah.
siloed ways,
Yeah.
but it doesn't have to be that way. And that's
It
why we're
doesn't have to
here.
be that way. Yeah,
That's
and I
why we're
also want to
here.
say that it's not bad because it is that way, right?
Right.
It's helpful for so many people.
Hmm.
So many people. And I think it can leave a lot to be desired for also so many people.
Right.
Right?
It's
And I
not for
think
everybody. Um,
yeah.
so there's Reiki.
This has been a Shut Up production.
Shut up!